So today I want to talk about rules. So we need rules to function in life. Successful families and successful parents have rules. Without rules, we have chaos. Now, this should be evident to most parents, but apparently it's not. Rules are like the walls in your house. They guide you down the proper pathways so that your house can be organized. Without walls, your house is total chaos. A wall says to you, you cannot go in here, you have to go down to the door. Now, this seems obvious, but again, this must not be obvious to many parents. Now, without rules, a child's life becomes chaotic and disorganized. Without rules, life becomes chaotic and disorganized. Now, here's what Google AI has to say about rules, and you can read them on the screen here. Rules provide for safety and structure in life. They teach kids what behaviors are acceptable and which are not. They contribute to a child's success in school, and they prepare them for a future life in which rules are important. We'll put those benefits there for you. Now, with that stated, you can't go berserk when it comes to implementing rules. There has to be a rational and reasonable limit to the number of rules that you put on children. If you put too many rules on them, they will rebel. Children need to have a certain amount of freedom in their lives. Now, I would say that my parents went a little crazy when it came to rules. Thus, my eternally rebellious attitude toward life. My parents had approved behavior for everything, and they had defined ways of doing things that we were expected to adhere to. Now, a certain amount of that is okay. And I'm sure my parents meant well when they forced us to go to church and then wouldn't let us play with other kids on Sunday because it was the Lord's Day. But I was a kid and I didn't see it that way. Maybe it was the Lord's Day, but who says that the Lord was against kids playing on Sunday? Not me. Anyway, here are some facts about implementing too many rules. Again, this comes from Google AI. Now, children with overly critical or dismissive parents are more prone to anxiety and depression. Strict rules can lead to defiance, aggression, and conduct issues. And children of authoritarian parents may have lower self-esteem, difficulty with self-regulation, increased risk of acting out. And then if you look at the last one, there's a correlation between strict parenting and increased risk of obesity. Now, that was new to me. I would have never thought that. At any rate, I would say this describes me in my earlier years to a T. I spent a lot of years overcoming all these obstacles, and I don't want your child to be handicapped like that. Okay, do I have any cool stories about rules? I do, but I'm not sure I can tell them. I might get into trouble. Okay, I'll tell you this one story, though, about my sister. Now, Barbara's what some people might call firm. I have to smile when I say that. She's a little older now, and she isn't going to be pushed around at her age. She's 72, 2 years older than I am. So I visited her recently, and I noticed all these security cameras in her carport. She says to me, "Oh, I have 8 of these things around the house. I like to keep an eye on things." And then she tells me this story about this house guest next door to where she lives. Now, Barbara lives near Myrtle Beach, and the house next door to her is rented out by VRBO. So she gets all sorts of transients who come in there. And many of these people are young people who want to party. They do stupid stuff like jump off the balcony into the pool. And I've already done a video on that, by the way. And just as an aside, don't do it. You're just going to hurt yourself. Anyway, so one time this group of people comes in, and my sister happens to see them out in front of her house. And they say to her, and trying to reassure her, "Well, we're not going to make too much noise, so you won't need to tell us to tone it down." And my sister, she looks at them and she says, "Oh, don't worry about it. I won't be calling you at all. It'll be the police at 11:01 p.m. if you're making too much noise. I thought that was pretty cool. That's my sister. She's a very rules-based person. But that's okay because her kids turned out great. Thank you.